Okay, so I'm Josh Cobler, and I had Chapter 12, A Monstrous Common Plot. I started off with the process work for General Ripper, and I started off with a basic square, because I think of him kind of as like just a square character. He's very boring and not, I don't know. And then I added arms to him, but I thought it looked too much like a penguin. So I moved on to a little more round of a square and started adding facial features and added more detail to him. And then eventually I decided to start working with color. And I wanted to keep it kind of army colors and military colors all together. And so I started off with a kind of pale green and a pale blue, and I just didn't think that represented him well enough, and the hair just didn't go right. So I went with more of a sandy color, and I didn't think that worked either. Kept going on until I finally decided on the bottom right corner that on a more green with the black hair and some spikes to kind of show like his anger and fear, or not fear, but anger towards the commies. And then I went on to Mandrake, and I started off with, not really sure, can't think of what the shape's called right now, but I thought it looked too much like a dress, and so I went on with more of a rounded shape with of skinny legs, and I didn't give him arms because I thought that Mandrake felt like he was just trapped the whole time in my scene, because the whole time he was locked in the room with General Ripper, he had no way to get out. And so then I moved on to my development of the first scene, and that part was when Ripper is explaining to Mandrake why he doesn't drink water and what he thinks the commie's plot is. And I thought this was just too plain to start off with, so I added color to the couch, added more detail. And then I went to a more room color, and then I gave a thought bubble showing that Ripper's like what he's actually thinking and how it doesn't work. And I wanted more color to it. I thought it was too plain, so I added the door in the background and added color, and the side door to the bathroom. And then I added a little bit more detail because in the background they had all of his guns on the back wall, and so I added that in. And then just to add more detail, I added a carpet because it looked too plain on the ground. And that was the final for that scene. And then I went on to the second scene, and this is where the other army is shooting at their base. And so he's looking out the wall. Well, you can't really tell right now. But later on, I added the blinds to show that he's looking out the window, and added the stripes on the wall, and a desk, and then some grass, and then like explosions in the back to show that he's getting shot at. But I didn't think that looked right, so I moved the grass down and added a sky and made the explosions white. And then added a little more detail with the chair and the desks. And then that was the final for that. And then I went on to the last scene where Ripper grabs his machine gun and asks Mandrake to help him. And since Mandrake doesn't have any arms, he doesn't really want to help him at all. He just is trapped. And so I moved on and I put it on the desk where he holds the machine gun. And then I added a little more detail, added the closet in the background, some detail to the wall, showed the broken windows that he had from getting shot at, and then added the chair in the background also. And then added the desk, and then this was my final 3 slides. That was it. Yeah, Zach?
I think you did a really good job of like filling the entire scene in every one of your final slides. You like, there's a lot going on, but you can still get the picture of what the scene is. And I think you did a good job.
Thank you. Casey?
I feel like you did a really good job on giving yourself enough criticism as you're going along through your process so you could make decisions to make it more successful in your end slides. And I feel like you did a great job with that.
Thanks.
I think you had a great work with your colors, but in the first scene, I would actually move the characters further away, because right now they're just kind of right in front of you and they're kind of distracting, in my opinion.
Okay.
I don't know if I would move the characters away, but I'm finding myself fixating on, are they sitting on the couch or standing in front of it? And actually, I think they would be better just standing in front of it, move the couch back a little bit. But as long as that line is continuing, the white line is running into the middle lines of them,
Yeah.
I'm not sure which is supposed to be represented, so it's creating a distraction. The other thing is, I think that water bottle up there in his head it's not necessary. You can put the water bottles somewhere else. You're right to put the other objects in the scene. I think that's really good. But in this case, I would put that in the scene, you know, rather than putting it in his head. We're not doing cartoons here, so we want as little as possible, if we can find a different way to do it, not to use the bubbles, the cartoon bubbles. And the other thing that I think, if you go to the next scene or two, yeah. Where did he get that machine gun? Where did he have it?
Out of the golf.
In a golf, yeah. And I think that would have been a wonderful object just to drop in there somewhere. Anybody else has any ideas about this? Because I like the way you're filling out the scene back there, but why not take advantage of, because it's so surprising when he pulls it out of the golf bag. You think of other things?
Yeah, Dan.
Well, maybe, I just a comment about the colors. Use two kind of softer colors, cool colors. And it works for most of it, especially since General Ripper is, you know, the commander. And I like the army colors, but I feel like if you used a warm, more intense color, you could have used that on General Ripper to show that he's more dangerous, more powerful, and also it would have helped you a lot with the scene with the explosions, I think.
Yeah, I was struggling with a color to put for the explosions. I was thinking of changing it, but I just really want to stick to the army colors, but I agree, definitely.
You know, as army colors, and see, there's just no way you can really predict it when it projects. But I think from looking at it just on the computer, that you had it a little closer to army drab in the sense that they were a little grayer or darker than what's projecting right now,
Yeah.
which is giving a kind of a happy, you know, or contented kind of background to it. Not happy, but contented. And yeah, I can see, I think that using the military colors has a good sense to it. They just happen to project here, I think, a little too bright.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, just to add on, this is kind of a late comment, but I was a little skeptical with the green at first, just because it does appear too light. But the way that it contrasts with the blue really, really fills out your final scenes, and it makes it visually stimulating and interesting to look at. Also, I was just wondering, with the hair, why did you do the half moon shape on top of the head? Because to me, it kind of ends up looking like baseball caps or something like that.
I did it just because there's too much of a gap at the top of the head, and I wanted something to fill it down, and I thought that was the best way to portray that. Yep,
Maybe
yeah.
just don't do like the white line, so then you wouldn't see.
So it blends in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that may help. Other questions or comments?